Well, if you want to look at the main positive, it's on vertical passes. That's passes that go 11 or more yards downfield. Bradford last night is 6 of 8 for 181 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 22.6 yards per attempt average on vertical passes. Those are phenomenal numbers. They would be a perfect passer rating, a perfect total QBR rating. You couldn't, if you're looking at it just from that statistical perspective, you could not ask for better. So, we've been wondering if he can get the downfield game going, and at least for the sum of the whole game, he sure did.
All right, let me ask you about the first half. What was the struggles in the first half? Was that him? Because I don't know about you, I thought Kelly was play calling because he didn't have confidence in the quarterback.
I'd agree with that. And Bradford had terrible numbers in the first half. It was, if you're looking at just his numbers in that frame, his numbers there was 10 to 17. This was including all passes, 10 to 17. For 74 yards, only 4.4 yards per attempt. I mean, it was, a lot of dink and dunks, a lot of, I thought it was fairly conservative, but the Eagles got 98 yards on the ground, so, the running game wasn't perfect, but if you get 98 yards per half, and you get nearly 200 yards in a game, so that's the Kelly offense from that perspective. And Bradford, I didn't see him make any big mistakes either, so I don't know if Kelly was just, I don't know what he was waiting for to cut the passing game loose, because if there's ever a defense you're going to cut the passing game loose against, it's the Cowboys defense. But in that first half, he was playing not to lose. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. And even the way the half ended, where he just kind of ran it out, he didn't give Bradford a chance to run the 2-minute drill really at all there. You mentioned it. He played almost not to lose. I mean, Bradford in the first half, I'm watching it, and it was just ugly. It was frustrating. And, again, I'm like, man, he's just not letting it go. He didn't grip it and rip it. He's just not – making some throws, and then in the second half, he really came alive. What was the differences between in the second half? I mean, I thought he threw the ball with a lot more confidence than he looked like he had in the first half.
Yeah, we've said about this year that it seemed like there have been times where they go in at halftime, and whether or not something is said, whether or not it's a game plan change, whatever it is, it's okay. Go be aggressive, Sam. Go cut this ball loose. Go throw it downfield. Go vertical. Go make some big plays happen. And then Bradford doesn't. And it is frustrating because what you saw in the total vertical game from Sam Bradford, from his overall vertical numbers, again, you think, wow, if they would have been doing that in the first half, maybe he could have doubled that production. And maybe the game doesn't go to overtime. The Eagles have a going away victory.
I was thinking the same thing. They made the one throw down to Miles Austin on like a 3rd and 16. They complete it, and I'm thinking, man, why not go back to that play or go down the field a little bit more? It seems like they just don't want to take those shots down the field. And then you mentioned they did it a little bit more in the second half. Bradford numbers were very good throwing the ball down the field. But I thought a lot of it opened up, Casey, because of the run game last night. Murray and Matthews, I thought, really performed well on the offensive line. So that's about 5 or 6 weeks in a row now that the Eagles' run game, I think they're second in the NFL in running the football since that Week 2 disaster at home against the Cowboys.
Yeah, they've been doing great. My good blocking rate metric, which measures how productive how often an offensive line gives its ball carrier good run blocking. They've been fantastic in that for 5 straight weeks, 172 yards. You really couldn't ask for a whole lot more. They had, They had 5 carries of 10 or more yards last night, and that out of all you get to give 5 carries where you're breaking away like that, and they got 15 yards per carry on those rushes. I mean, it's not just that they were running the football; they were having success. They're breaking off some big plays. It's exactly what you're looking for out of a Chip Kelly system. And again, it's kind of frustrating because the running game's been working for all these weeks. The passing game has been hit or miss, and usually in the Chip Kelly system, if the running game is working, the passing game is going to work, and it's great what happened in the second half. But again, you do wonder is why can't they get that for an entire game?
Yeah, and first half struggles have been really maddening. I mean, they haven't scored, I think, 1 touchdown all year in the first quarter. It's 7-7 at the half, and quite frankly, they got some interesting plays from their defense that really helped them out. The strip sack by Graham that took the Cowboys out of field goal range. They had the pick 6 there, so they really did a good job. But I thought when they made the adjustment from Biggers going into the slot was really a big point of that game on Beasley, because Beasley was just having his way with Malcolm Jenkins last night. Yeah,
there was a time when I was thinking, well, wouldn't the Eagles love to have a guy, a smallish, fast cornerback who could go put up against Beasley? Wouldn't it be nice if they had, say, Brandon Boykin covering him? There was a good time when I was thinking that, going, yeah, it'd be great. And eventually you get it fixed, but it's one of those where, it's again the game plan adjustment. How often, how long does Beasley catch passes before you can do something about it? And because there was a time when he was tearing the defense up. Although you got to give the Eagles credit for overall, Ryan has that one catch in the end zone that crazy scramble play by Castle for the touchdown. Beyond that, they kept him in check, and there was a lot of concerns about whether or not he was going to be able to have a big game. And the Eagles, for the most part, kept him in check.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Maxwell guy in the world. I thought he played maybe his best game last night. I thought the calls on him, man. I know that I talk about this a lot, but the officiating was, again, reared its head into that game last night.
I've posted on Twitter this the weekend when there was some bad college football officiating as well. I said I've been doing this for 12 years, and if you take the overall officiating for college and pros, I've never seen it as bad as it's been this year. And it's there are times in this game where you just looked and said that's really really chintzy. How can you call that? It's And there's inconsistencies too, and they missed the fumble in overtime where Matthews fumbled the football, and then it turns out it wasn't a fumble. It's just you keep seeing all these mistakes, and I don't know what they're going to do, because if the colleges have as many problems as they're having, it's not like the NFL could just fire all these officials and get some college guys, because those guys are having just as many issues. Yeah,
no doubt. KC Joyner is with us, ESPN.com NFL insider. The Eagles beat the Cowboys last night. Where was the game won for you? What was the reason that Phil? Because it's not the prettiest win. I mean, they ran the ball well. Bradford has the game-winning pass. Matthews gets some redemption because of the drops. What was the difference last night for Philadelphia?
Again, it's Bradford's second-half performance in the vertical passing game. I mean, to put up those sorts of numbers, 181 yards on vertical passes, and in most of those came in the second half. I mean, and to have and overtime, and to have that type of production, it's hard for any team to match that. The Cowboys, by contrast, by the way, Castle was 2 of 7 on vertical passes for only 69 yards. So here's Bradford going 6 of 8 for 181 yards. I mean, it's a 120-yard difference. It's a big difference, and it's 100 yards per. The 100 yards equals 6 points. 120 yards there equals part of the 6-point edge for the Eagles. So I think that's it, and they need to ask Bradford to do this for an entire game, because if they do, we'll all start thinking about playoffs again.
Well, can he do it? I mean, did you see a guy last night that's starting? Because we've seen it before. Atlanta second half, he's had his moments. Is this a guy? The theory of, look, the guy hasn't played football in 18 months, and some people would say, well, look, he's out there now. I know some of the players have said, look, Sam will be fine. He hasn't played football in a long time. That's some of the murmur around that locker room. Are you seeing a guy who feels more comfortable? Because in the first half, I didn't see that guy. In the second half, I said, all right, he looks a little better. But I don't know that I feel comfortable saying that over the long haul of the next 8 weeks.
No, but if you get even if you only get this for one half of a game and you end up these sorts of numbers, you're doing just fine. I mean, it's to see. I'll put it this way: at the end of the game, after what he did in the second half, I was comfortable with, okay, this is the Bradford that we know that this guy's still here, because there's been a few times the past few weeks where you may see it for a drive, but you don't see it for an extended period of time. And if you can do it for a half, you should be able to do it for a longer period. My concern is that a lot of people can do this against the Cowboys. That's a really bad defense. Can the Eagles do it against a better defense than the? You're supposed to be able to throw for vertical passes, and at the end of the game, you were able to do that. I like that, and I think that bodes well for the Eagles' future.
Does KC Joyner put the nail in the Cowboy coffin?
Yeah.
They done.
Absolutely, yeah. There's too much ground to make up, and with the way the Eagles and the Giants are playing that much better, I think the Cowboys. I don't think they go 500 this year.
Well, they got a long way to go. They're 0-6 without Tony Romo, and they'll play against Tampa Bay next week. I said before, they've got to win one of these games without Romo. Just one. That's all I'm asking. One for them. I think if they win next week, that keeps them alive, but they'll be on life support. But I'm not ready to kill them just yet, because I think 9-7 is going to be good enough, and that would give Romo a chance at least. That would give him a chance. I'm not saying they can get it done, but I'm not ready to put the nail there just yet. KC Joyner is back on Thursday. He'll give us some insight on the Eagles and the Dolphins and the other NFC East matchups as well. So we'll let him get back in the lab for that. Thanks, pal.
Appreciate it.